It's fitting, Chick, you're running by with the U.S. Track and Field Championships underway. No one's going to mistake you. It's awesome. I'm excited for today. We got another install for us, and then last practice here. Then we'll go head up to Massachusetts, for our practice with the Patriots on Wednesday, game Friday. But I am excited for today. A lot of situations at the end again, some 2 minute at the half, and that's what we've been hitting on and digging in hard. Coming off the Players' Day off, we're still kind of coordinating who will be available for practices Wednesday and then into the game on Friday. So I thought I'll give you that list before we meet at practice up at Foxborough. So let's get through today. Adam and I will kind of organize that tonight, but I'm glad to share that with you on Wednesday morning. So all that said, let's get rocking.
Well, can I ask about one player? Brandon Coleman had to, left the field the other day. How is he? Will he be out there today? Or?
Brandon will be out for today, and then we'll see what it looks like for this trip to go. So, if he's able to make it for Wednesday's practice, heading into New England.
What has jumped out to you about the defense through camp so far?
I think Joe's trying to emphasize different things on different days. I like that we've, pushed ourselves on man-to-mans to see in the spring. You naturally do more zone. There's no contact. You're just trying to do the best you can. So you emphasize different things in different parts of the year. But I like the communication that I'm hearing from them. I like the rotation and utilizing the big guys in different ways. But we're got a long way to go in terms of how we want to get the ball. We got a long way to go in tackling. But I like that Joe's really mixed in a lot of man-to-mans.
Do you feel that because of who you have at corner now this year that you can play more of that effectively, and what's the impact of that?
That's the goal, to test, and find out where you're at, what you can do. And so now that we are getting into more of that, it's good. Now what's matchups, and we'll do some of that this weekend again. So I'm looking forward to, heading up to New England. I've known Mike for a long time, so I'm looking forward to getting up there and working with those guys too.
And in the travel, look, these rookies have traveled throughout their college careers, but this is a different level.
Yeah.
It's a different experience. How do you counsel them? Do you say anything to them as they prep for their first time with an NFL squad?
Yeah. One, it's awesome to take the team away. A little bit different environment, because hotel at home and hotel on the road, it is different. And so I like the teams being together. Chick, I think there's things to gain with that. As far as the game goes, it's awesome. It will be eventually their first NFL game. They've been thinking about doing that forever. My message is they've already been doing that at practice, playing against other NFL players at that spot. But it's still a start and something that is a cool day for them to begin.
Dan, in terms of the joint practice, are there, what are for the line play? Obviously, you can only do so much except when the pads are on a little bit. What are for the line play both sides? Are you kind of most looking forward to seeing once you guys get that joint practice going?
One of the things, Ben, that I like is the different style of player. When you're here, I have a sense what he's like. I have a sense what the next person's like. So a different defensive front, how they align would be different than how we do. Different style of player, somebody you haven't gone against. So there's definitely things to gain as you're going through that. And it's not just online. They'll be on special teams in that same space. So it's a really effective way to get more work in from some different looks, different styles, and we also provide that for them.
And for the defensive tackles, Johnny Newton in particular, how has he been in camp? And for that joint practice, what are you kind of hoping to see from him and some of the other tackles?
Yeah. The first thing that sticks out when you talk about him is man, what a difference a year makes, where he's able to really fully practice and play and express all the things that make him unique. If you can remember, coming off the foot, it's just working it back into it. When can he get there? And so to see him fully doing all the things, that's been exciting for me. And then as we get moving forward, reps, how to feature him. He's got great quickness off the ball, so we love when we get him on the edge of players, whether it's guards, centers, and even we've kicked him out, to some end at times too.
Dan, you indicated last week that Terry might be on the field soon. Are you expecting him to come off PUP at a certain point soon?
Not a timetable. I think you'll see the on-field work, and then we'll progress from there. So once you get a good bit of on-field work, really hard routes, decelling, stopping, that's the hardest part. Not straightaway speed, but mostly for receivers, that decel, that's the comeback, that's the in-breaking route. And so that's most of it for wideouts and for DB. So when that hits the spot, then I'm expecting then that to turn quickly.
With Bobby Wagner, I mean, you've been around him quite a bit throughout his career. I mean, even at this stage in his career, does anything change with him as far as this process? I mean, what allows him to keep doing what he's doing at such a high level?
Yeah, I wish I've coached him every year of my career. He's very disciplined. He's very structured in his routine of how he goes about it. He's methodical. You'll see him in with Chad really early, workouts, but he really trusts that. Now he's, what do I tweak? How do I get it better this one? But it does come from the work. I would say some people manage, okay, I'm on, I'm off. Like, there's not really an off switch with him. Like, part of him is the work ethic. Like, I have put it in. I'm way past that. It's, I wouldn't say throwback in a way, but he really trusts that process of, like, some might call it overtraining, but for him, what it does to his mind and how he gets ready, there's an advantage there too, Nikki. So he really has it, and he trusts it, and it's been effective for him.
Hey, Dan.
Morning, Dave.
I know the offensive line is a unit, and it's including the tight ends as well, but specifically with Tunsil and Coleman, do you see them having the kind of potential where they can be the place you run by on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, like on a regular basis, just because they're so talented that it's hard to kind of stop them?
It's cool to see they're unique, and now we've seen both pull. How do you get out and go? So whether it's a guard pull on a counter or both guard and tackle pulling, just the tackle, maybe on a sweep or a toss play, and that jumped out to me, that usually you don't have that type of flexibility. Oftentimes there's one really good puller, and sometimes it's the left guard when you're running into this side. If you think of like a Hall of Famer like Alan Faneca or somebody, like, you knew where the play was going because he was going to pull, and they still ran it well because he was that good at it. When you have the flexibility to move and be dominant, get into the combinations, it's a big deal for us. And part of our offense is being at the line and being aggressive, but having that ability to pull and move, that's a hard thing defensively to defend.
With Terry's situation, I mean, there's going to be a ramp up whenever this gets resolved.
Yes.
And I just wonder, from a calendar standpoint, how much time do you think he'll need to ramp up? Because this week is gone, essentially, and I would think next week you're going to play the starters a lot, or as much as you're going to play them in preseason. I just wonder, from a calendar standpoint, what are we talking
It's
about?
a great question, and I think I'll have a better sense of whenever it's back, then it begins, the on-field. So we won't rush that. It's too important, but all of the guys need that at any position, at any spot. And so it really depends on the return. Then you can do the ramp up, but we won't shortchange that in one spot to say, okay, now we'll hustle to go. I think we all have seen that through the years around the league, that somebody hustles back and, man, they got banged up. Maybe you didn't follow the process, and it's hard as a coach. But just stay disciplined when those moments happen, and all the guys follow the same, hey, let's ramp it back up and not miss one step. And we'll do that too.
Hey, Dan, good morning.
Good morning.
From year 1 to year 2 with a coordinator in a new place, or with a new head coach, you and Kliff's relationship, where's the biggest area of growth that you expect to see?
We're fortunate that not just at the coordinator, but at the assistant level, we had just an unusual year where people had a chance to move, and they ended up staying. And so that was a big deal. I think it comes from the staff part first, of collaboration. When you're first putting in a system at the coordinator level, you're the resident expert in that area, and there may be new people that you haven't worked with, and you're feeling that part out. Well, now you've gone through that, ups, downs, highs, lows, and you can really collaborate at a higher level. And so that can kind of raise the standards of things, because you've been through the adversity, which, like all staffs are going to go in the spring when you're new, like, hey, the scoreboard's not on, all is good, and then you lose a few games, or the unit doesn't perform as well, and fixing problems, building relationships with players, those are big deals. And so I think what I would expect year 1 to 2, it's collaboration, not just offense to offense and defense to defense, but together. And now that you can do that, I think then you can really set yourself up. Because now you're communicating. Hey, man, this is hard. That was a good play, and I'm seeing that with the staff, and that brings me a good peace of mind.
I think it's been a second since we asked you about Cosme, how he's doing. How's his progress, and do you feel like week 1 is still like on the table as a potential?
Yes, definitely still on the table. And once the decision comes with off PUP or not, we still have a few weeks until we're even into that discussion. But the load bearing, the strength, the quad strength is usually the thing that you're always testing when you're coming back from an ACL, and then taking on power, like a guy pushing. And so he's doing a lot of field work. We're pleased with where he's at. He's absolutely busted his ass to, put himself into a spot to do that, but it's too early to call. Although he's hitting all the marks, I wouldn't want to speculate just not knowing him on the field around the guys. Because just like DA was talking, like no matter what, it takes timing and skill work, and not just by yourself individual work. So it's the practice that matters the most, getting the practice reps with the team.
Hey, good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
I know every staff can be a little bit different how they operate. At this point in the training camp session, how much are you guys operating on the full playbook, and how much are you operating on like an install playbook, for lack of a better term? I don't know what you call it.
Yep, we're still at the install spot, so we have a few more to go. There's one today of some things that's going in, and then when we come back from that trip, there's a little bit of a extended time between the New England game and the Cincinnati game, so it allows us to go into that more. So what we'll do in that part, David, also service one of what is this the offense need to see more of against the defense, and vice versa. So there's your own install, and then, hey, I'd like to see more blitz, I'd like to see more of this type of zone, this type of front. So it can even go into what do you do, and then I'd like to see a little bit more of some others. And it is an advantage, and it was by design with New England and Baltimore, a little bit different in terms of systems and how we do things. So that helps too.
Hey, Coach. Good
morning.
So kind of along those lines, when do you say what does a good practice look like? So how do you know when they really got after it or you weren't pleased?
Yeah. First thing I want to make sure is the effort's right, Candy, in terms of the finishing of the end of plays. I want to see the details and the focus there, not the pre-snap foul of a neutral zone infraction or an offsides. The combative ones I'm holding will correct. I want to make sure those ones, the substitutions, when I see that part going, communication, energy, execution of the plays, that's it. As a coach, I also have to remind myself at times, like them failing is part of the process. I just want to make sure that that's going full speed to do that. Failing, jumping off sides, that's not failing to me. Like when you're going for it, man, you made a mistake. And so I want to make sure the growth and the learning comes from like pushing something to try it. I like this, I couldn't do that, I tried this technique, it didn't work. You do need that right now. And that's what a good practice to me looks like. But it starts with energy, communication, details. I don't want to see people hurry, but I want urgency. I know that's like, well, what the hell is the difference, Dan? I can feel urgency the way they get to the line of scrimmage, the way they communicate, the speed of the motion, but not being like, wigged out. Like, hey, man, energy, communication, and then I like seeing that over and over again. So it's the challenge of it, but it's at the end the competition still, Kenny. Our best versus their best. That's how you get really good ball, and it's going to go one or the other. So at a practice, it's not like everything's great because somebody's winning and losing the play. So it kind of should go back and forth. If it slants one way all the way, I'm like usually concerned on that too. So a lot of long answer, but it's fun to go through.
Hey, Coach. Last week you worked on the red zone quite a bit. For both sides of the ball, did you see the pressure that you wanted from the defensive side, and did you see the execution from the offensive side?
Yeah, we also did it even at the end of the game, which I loved. Twice now we've had a time where it came down to a moving clock, end of the game play. And that even adds an extra layer of intensity, Donna, because the clock's running, You don't get the play in from the sideline to huddle up, give you your best play. You're on the ball and doing that. So I enjoy that even more. So the most of the time down in the red zone, I'm wanting to find out, can we push it from time? Can we push it from last play? And sometimes it doesn't go like you want it to, but you do learn from that, and we'll have some more of that today. But I think those moments that this is either the last play or the next to last play, it has to be in the end zone. If it's short, you're going to run out of time. It adds a layer of stress because it's you're competing, your techniques, the defensives, and the clock and the time. So, like, that's why I like some of the red zone and 2 minute, because it combines all three of that into a storm. That's awesome. All right. Thanks, everybody.
There's been a bunch of really good throwaways to keep us in manageable situations. So, carrying out his fakes at a higher level, he's just really treating each practice rep as a game, and that is showing up.
And with Debo, what have you seen from him so far? And just obviously moving around a little bit, what have you seen from him?
Yeah, incredibly competitive. Anything we ask him to do, whether we put him inside or outside, he's going to go at it 1,000 miles per hour, and has an ability to separate it. He's so strong running through, can play at a high speed that guys have a hard time staying with him. So a great addition for us, just his mentality, how he's been since he got here, the competitive nature in every drill, every rep. He's the first one in line on all the receiver stuff. It's been awesome.
When Zach was in here talking about you and the work you put in here and your like 3 a.m. arrival time, things like, I think he called you like a grinder. We hear players like Bobby Wagner, Jaden Daniels are here early and things like that, and players look up to them. Do you think like that could carry out, like someone on offense, maybe a younger player seeing you here early, you watching that much film, like can that maybe set the tone here?
Yeah, none of them want to be coaches, so it's more player-based. I think when they see Jaden is up here, whatever hour he gets, but early, Bobby, Zach, I think that is more impactful for those guys because you see guys that have done it at a high level, Hall of Fame players, and that's what it takes. If you want to stay in this league 10, 11, 12 years, get a gold jacket, it's going to take everything. It's a lifestyle, and when you can watch guys on your team doing it, it goes a long way.
Hey, Kliff, with Debo, however you may use him out of the backfield and what we've seen out of Bill, how do you think that helps your potential big play potential out of the running game that maybe was lacking at times last year?
Yeah, I like the group we have. There's no doubt. Bill's had some good flashes for a young guy. We'll see as we get into these competitive periods with other teams and preseason games. But the Debo, I remember being in Arizona, just the matchup issue where you don't know what personnel group they're in because they had McCaffrey and him, and sometimes McCaffrey was wide out, he was a running back, and vice versa. It's just, you can do a lot of different things. So that to me is the most exciting thing when it comes to game planning and finding ways to get him touches.
And obviously without Terry, you got other receivers who have been having more reps. For guys like Luke McCaffrey, where has his progress been since last year, since this offseason?
Yeah, that's been, if you're going to find silver linings, some of those other guys being asked to step into starting type roles, and us as coaches figuring out, hey, worst case scenario, if these two guys, Noah and Terry, got hurt, what would this look like? How would we play personnel groups? What we need to do to maximize that group? So we've been working through that, but Luke has really come a long way from last year this time to now. Just the confidence. We're playing outside a lot for necessity. I think he can play inside as well, but he's made some plays. The young kid's had his number on some plays, but it's been a good battle, and he's definitely night and day difference from what he was last year at this time.
Hey, Kliff, what do you think of Sam Hartman's camp?
Yeah, I think it's been up and down. I think he has all the ability, smart, good footwork, solid arm. Just a couple plays, got to take better care of the football. But, he didn't practice much in the spring with his arm coming back off that shoulder surgery. So he's still getting back in the rhythm. But I'm excited to watch him in preseason. I think he's a guy who's always on game day. The lights are on. He's always played his best. So I'm excited to see what he does.
Hey, Coach, I know you mentioned Bill a moment ago after Ben's question. So what have you seen so far out of the running back room?
A lot of guys that can play. I think there's probably 6 or 7 guys that'll end up being on a roster this year out of that room, which is a credit to those guys and the job Coach Lynn does with them. But, Bill, for a young guy, loves football, competes, very explosive. Like, he got ruled ineligible at Arizona and stayed and played scout team the whole year, which is like nobody would do that, So that tells you right there the type of passion he has for it, and it shows up. So that was a exciting kind of pick for us and what he's shown so far. And then Austin Eckler looks as good as ever. We got B-Rob. We know what he is. C-Rod. J-Mac, Kaz, Felton's done good. So I think there's 6 or 7 guys that are going to make rosters, and so it's been great competition in that room.
Hey, Kliff. Coach Quinn had talked about the coaches using the offseason to kind of address areas that they could maybe improve on. Were there any areas for you looking at this offseason that you wanted to improve on coming into the season?
Yeah, ball security. I think when you're playing the Eagles, I think we turned it over 9 times against them the last 2 times we played. I'm like, we have to be better and give ourselves a chance to win. And then just really taking the next step. We got a lot of guys returning, so them understanding the offense in year 2 and really putting their own spin on it. That really makes them more comfortable, and the quarterback being in total command. I think just taking the next step, not thinking as much, and being able to execute at a high level.
Kliff, so you're going into your second season as the coordinator. Is there anything with your coaching style that you see yourself changing from last season to now this season?
I'm pretty consistent with the coaching style. I think we have a great group of assistant coaches that we all work really well together, but just making sure that we know that last year was last year, and this year is a whole new year and a new group, and it's going to be a tough schedule, and kind of keeping the standard. That's the biggest deal. Last year, you didn't really know what you had, and we were always the underdog, and we could just kind of take our shot at people. And this year, we got to be more consistent in how we do everything, and I think that's the biggest message I'm preaching.
Having a tackle as accomplished as Laremy Tunsil out there, how much can that allow you to expand what you're trying to do offensively?
You feel really good letting him go one-on-one against most guys. So a lot of times if you might have given some sort of chip or help there with the tight end, you can just let him eat, which definitely allows you to free release some backs, get some people out. So it's, for a play designer, what we do each and every week, it definitely makes it easier.
And with Josh Connerly, what have you seen out of him so far? What do you like? What do you kind of want him to continue to work on?
Yeah, a guy who's super talented. I mean, has everything you want. He's made the adjustment from left to right tackle, and I think there's still some fundamental stuff that he's got to get used to playing over on the right side, which takes some time, but he's game. Asks great questions, studies hard, works hard, so he's pretty much right where we expect him to be.
Yeah, hey, Kliff, good afternoon. There's been a lot of guys who've talked about like feeling more comfortable in their second year with your system. From the other side of that, like how much more, or how are things different for you right now compared to a year ago? Sort of understanding the players, this whole coaching staff is back. Like how are things different for you right now?
Yeah, it's a huge jump. I think last year at this time, I don't think we'd even named a starting quarterback yet. So to go from that to where we're at, and understanding what a lot of these guys do well, like what their strengths are, how to motivate, and then just to be able to expand our offense and really get to the next level of it is exciting. We got a bunch of really high IQ football guys that are back for a second year in this offense, and so I expect us to continue to get better and really be more detailed this season.
Name a starter right now, a quarterback.
What's that?
I said, are you prepared to name a starter or quarterback right now?
Yes.
Yeah. Perfect. Jalen Lane, it seems like he's not playing like a rookie. I mean, what do you make about him?
He's been very impressive. He's a coach's kid, been around the game his entire life, and if you tell him how to do it one time, he usually nails it, and then if he makes a mistake, he'll come back and get it corrected, but super, super talented, very fast. Yeah, I've been really impressed. I don't think I could see some of those things at Virginia Tech, watching the film and getting him here in person and watching him run around and watching the coachability and the route tree that he can run. It's been really impressive.
I just have one question, just about the receiving core. I mean, obviously Terry's not out there, Noah's not out there, but beyond those two, what's your general feeling about the depth of that group?
Yeah, I think it's good competition. Like I said, if you were to lose Noah or Terry, you got to have some guys step up, and I think we're starting to see kind of who's making plays when they're getting their opportunities and who's not. And so I like the depth. I think they can all play in this league. It's just if we got in this scenario, somebody had to step up and be kind of the bell cow, and I think we're still working through that. Thank y'all.